us all about that. Gentlemen, warm-hearted good morning to you. Dominic, Karel, how are you keeping? Good morning.
Yeah, thank you very much, Wynand. We're still recovering from an excellent trip, but here we are.
Well, here we are, and I can't wait to hear all your stories. Reverend Hermy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Wynand. Thanks so much for having us back again.
Wonderful. Karel, can I start with you? You and your wife were the tour leaders of the Radio Pulpit tour to the recent Turkey tour that we had up for grabs. So please tell us why Radio Pulpit organized such a tour.
It was about 15 years ago when we did a tour to Greece and Turkey. So this was sort of to revive that idea. The tour specifically focused on the 7 congregations of the book Revelation. That's not a tour that people quite often go on or get the chance to do. So we thought that will be a great new venture for Radio Pulpit and our listeners to take a tour to Turkey. Of course, if you don't know, but all 7 congregations of the book Revelation is in what we call today Turkey. It was in those days called Asia Minor. Our slogan at Radio Pulpit is to be your daily companion. Now, daily companion means that we also want to have spiritual input into your life, especially those of our listeners, not only on the radio, but also on the ground. And we thought that this would be an excellent opportunity to give spiritual input into some of our listeners' lives. I said it often on the tour and also at previous tours that when you go overseas and you see the physical environment of the Bible books, it is as if you experience the Bible in 3 dimensions.
Yeah, it changes altogether.
Yes, it's just an experience that you cannot explain to other people. Why not? It was also to socialize and to get our listeners to know them better. And boy, did we do that. It was fantastic to meet our listeners.
Well, hopefully they all tuned in. We're going to listen a little bit later on to Gloria, Rose, Lucy, Joanita, Renee, Gladys, Fanny, and Makadi and Thomas. And these guys, I hope you tuned in this morning. If you want to meet Dominic Karel Verhoef and Reverend Hermy Damons, you can watch them on Facebook. A gentleman up there, there's a camera up there. If you can just smile and wave, Bush. So we all do it together, smile and wave. We're on Facebook and also on the Radio Pulpit YouTube channel. Reverend Hermy, you and your wife, Prima, also co-leaders of the tour. Can you give us a short summary of the itinerary, please?
Yes, thanks so much, Wynand. As Karel has indicated, it was such a privilege and a pleasure to engage with our listeners. And indeed, as much as what we aim to be your daily companion at Radio Pulpit, it was a joy to be a travel companion.
Yes, very much
with our listeners as well. And so our tour started out in Istanbul, and we spent 2 nights in Istanbul. Visited some historic sites in Istanbul, which was a great joy. And then we went on to Pergamum, or Bergamum, as it's known today.
Bergamum.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness. All right.
And then from there on, we went to Pamukkale, spent some time there near the waters of Laodicea, in Hierapolis, modern-day Hierapolis. Saw all of the beautiful hot air balloons, which is something that we wanted to
They're worldwide known for those beautiful hot air balloons,
yes.
aren't they?
The most prominent place in Turkey is... and now the name has escaped me for the hot air balloons.
We'll get to that in a moment.
We'll get to that in a moment. But in Hierapolis, in Laodicea, there's a lot of that activity as well, and that's something that was quite enjoyable. Then we went on to Ephesus, and then we saw the sites of the churches in Smyrna, Ephesus, visited the house of
a lot of
Mary.
history there, beautiful.
A lot of history, Smyrna, Pergamon, and then we ended the tour off with a visit to Troy, where they are busy rebuilding the infamous Trojan horse.
Oh, yes.
Is under construction at the moment to be being rebuilt. And then we made our way back to Istanbul and then spent the rest of the day in Istanbul, prior to our flight back to to Johannesburg via Dubai, obviously.
Sounded like an absolute blessing. The itinerary jam-packed, hardly time to breathe. Karel, how did it go? Would you say it was successful? What was the spiritual input to the people experiencing this tour? What would you say?
Firstly, logistically wise, it was fantastic. You know, the tour was very well planned by our tour operator, Brom, from Stargate International. The people were so nice. I mean, our Radio Pulpit listeners are just so... I don't have words to describe them. It's just like a family arriving. It's as if they've known each other for years, you know.
All right.
Total strangers coming together, spending 10 days together, as if they've known each other for many years. We did a lot of driving. I can tell you, Turkey is a big country. I mean, and we only did the west, where the Book of Revelations took place. So the hotels, we did a lot. It was fantastic. A lot of walking. I can tell you, we really suffered and came to the realization that we're not that young anymore, me and myself. The history was just astounding, and our guide was an expert with explaining to us the history of all the different sites. Of course, the spiritual input came from ourselves and from the tour goers, who were very well learned and knew a lot about the Book of Revelation, and we were quite fortunate to have some people who could add significantly to the spiritual experience of our trip to all the biblical sites of Revelation. In the evenings, 2 or 3 evenings, we had reflections on what did we see. Can I just say that take note that it's not a Christian country, so you are constantly experiencing what the Christians of those days must have experienced. You're a loner in a foreign country with a different religion, where
a foreign language as well.
Foreign language, you're under Roman control. You have to worship their idols. You have to worship the Caesar, and then the constant message of all these letters to the congregations is stand firm. Stand firm. Even though you are persecuted, you must stand firm. Even though you are surrounded by idols and strange gods, stand firm. That was the central message at each of these different congregations, and basically that's the whole message of Revelation as well.
A very apt message for this modern day and age we find ourselves in, even here in South Africa. Stand firm. Reverend Hermy, perhaps you can give us 1 or 2 highlights that you experienced, you and your wife. Obviously, when you got home, you sat down, reminiscing about the tour, thinking back on it. Highlights. Tell me about it.
Wynand, I think just before I touch on the highlights, I just want to just add to what Karel had said in terms of the actual logistics, and just to thank, just a word of thanks to our tour operator, Bram. I mean, the hotel accommodation was excellent.
All right.
Everything was beautiful. In terms of our spiritual highlights, I think one of the big ones that stood out for me was our very first visit to a mosque of all things, known as the Hagia Sophia, which until about 2 years ago was a church, and the Turkish government has just changed it into a mosque, and it's got a long history. But what was significant about it is that as you walk into the mosque, there are these images of Jesus on the walls. And it bears testimony to itself. Nobody has to preach to you. There's Jesus in the mosque.
Yeah, a picture speaks 1,000 words.
That's exactly what it is.
So I have to interrupt you because we've got so many sound clips. People who joined us on this tour, Gloria, Rose, Lucy, and Janine has lined them up for us. Would you guys, is it all right? Can we play them in quickly? Can't wait to hear what these people had to say. Janine, it's over to you.
My name is Gloria Sihume. Well, I was on tour to Turkey with Radio Pulpit. It was breathtaking to see the Blue and St. Sophia mosques. The underground system is an intelligent undertaking that I will not forget. Topkapi Palace was most impressive, with gold artifacts which are well preserved. We'll advise you to go to on the tour if you can. What an experience with Radio Pulpit tour. Bye.
Good morning, Radio Pulpit family. Rose Mkwanazi speaking. It was a pleasure for me to be part of the team that visited Turkey recently. The tour created an opportunity for me to see that what is written in the Bible, Revelation chapter 1, verse 4, the A part of it is real, to the 7 churches in province of Asia. When visited the remainings of Hierapolis city destroyed by earthquake, I saw big trees that survived the destruction still standing and being green. That emphasized to me the importance of being a Christian that is rooted in God's word. Life storms will strike, but the Christian that is rooted in God's word will remain standing in faith, not being defeated by life challenges. It was really a good experience for me.
Good day, I am Lucy Randall. I have just returned from a wonderful tour of Turkey